Do you think the appetite for second-hand clothing in general is increasing as time goes on? Do you think the market is going to become bigger?
100%, definitely. There's still that stigma of, oh, that's someone else has worn that, or it's got a small mark there, there's a little hole. But I think people just need to get over that, and it's starting to grow, and people are starting to realise, oh, it's a lot cheaper, it's better for the environment. But I think we just need to get past that stigma. I think another sort of misconception with vintage is people don't realise how well it was made back in the day. There's pairs of jeans like from like the 60s, 70s, 80s that just the quality is crazy on them compared to a pair of like Primark jeans which you could like easily tear with your bare hands.
So how did you guys initially get started with Messina Hembry? Like, where did the initial idea come from?
So I think Josh and Zac, my bosses, they were doing it for, I think Zac was doing it while he was in uni, and then Josh was working a job. They were doing it for 2 years just as sort of a side thing, and then I think they've been doing it for 8 years as a company, and they've sort of just been upscaling it eventually over those years. They were in this warehouse and then they moved into the other warehouse, and eventually they had to open up this warehouse as well. So they've sort of got this whole area that they're renting out now. Eventually we're going to move down the road into a much larger warehouse which will have everything in one place, the wholesale, the retail side of it, eBay, ASOS and the website.
So Josh, you've got an astronomical amount of clothing in here, mate. I'm curious to know which kind of item sells best on what platform?
So it's all sort of a bit dependent on the brand, the size of the item, how old it is. But I'd say the main thing is for eBay, it's the brand and sort of if it had a high retail beforehand, when it was like brand new, it would have like a strong sort of resale value. So Ralph Lauren, for example, I think like the quarter zips, they cost like £140. Mm-hmm. We can get them in at like sort of a kilo price or a set price, and they go for like 30 to sort of 45, £50 easily on eBay.
Wicked. So tell us a little bit about what's in these bags. Are these going out? Are they coming in? Where are they going?
So this is pretty much right after we've got the raw material in, and then it'll be put into different sections of ASOS men's, ASOS women's, children's, and then there'll be like an eBay section and a section for the website. So this bag, for example, ASOS men's, that's going to be taken over. That'll be sprayed and sort of flattened out to make it look all pretty to be put onto ASOS Marketplace.
To be photographed before it goes on?
Yeah,
right?
literally just to be photographed. We get lots of different grades in from different countries. So, for example, we get 10 tons of Italian in every month, 2 tons of French, and I think there's around sort of 5 to 6 tons of American we get in as well every single month. So it must be, I think we're upwards of like 15 tons every single month that we're sort of processing, either wholesaling it or selling it at retail.
And I'm curious to know, is it like a specific kind of garment that comes more from one country than another?
So
like a trend?
Every country is different. Italy's sort of well known for its high-end items, so we'll get like lots of raw rag in from that, and it'll be like an unbranded knit with like a nice Fendi jacket. Get Stone Island from Italy, whereas compared to France, you get like a lot of Patagonia surfwear, nice sort of French workwear, so like a nice chore jacket. And then from America, you obviously get the usual bits like your Champion,
Russell Athletic,
all the classics, Carhartt.
Yeah, nice.
And obviously there is a little bit of wastage, but we sort of rework it and do different things with it to sort of make it reusable again.
So you've got a diverse range of products, maybe compared to some other wholesalers.
Yeah, so most wholesalers, they just get certain grades in, NASCAR tees, Harley tees, sweatshirts, whereas we'll get in vintage leathers right next to a knit with like a Y2K skirt with some cargos. So it's just a whole range. We're not getting like a huge amounts of it, but it's all mixed in there. So there'll be like lots of different items of different sort of cuts, colours, brands and everything.
So this is a good example of a piece that you would get in and have a higher resale value, right?
Yes, we'd wholesale it around sort of £12 to £15 per piece to like a vintage shop, second-hand sort of reseller, or we could retail it ourselves on eBay, ASOS, and our own website at around sort of 35, I'd say, 35 to 45.
As a consumer, you might think that's a huge profit margin, but Give us a little bit of an idea of the process of actually getting this here, you know, getting it ready to go and sold.
So there's lots of different processes it has to go through. Obviously, has to be graded by the factory in whatever country it's coming from. So take Italy, for example, gets graded there. Once it gets shipped over, it's got a whole process that it needs to go through. It has to be graded, has to be photographed, cleaned if it needs to be cleaned. Sometimes they need like new buttons put on them, a bit of fixing up, and just sort of make it presentable to be put onto eBay, ASOS and the website. But yeah, there's just loads of overheads, rent obviously, photographs. I think, what else have we got to do? Shipping, that's another cost that we have to take on the chin. But yeah, there's just a lot more money being spent to actually get this clothing.
Than you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is like the wholesale side of it. Basically,
so people actually come in here and like look
so
for
literally
a certain
people come in
piece.
handpick, either via video call or in person, and yeah, it's just a good business really, just wholesaling items that they can wholesale easily, and then selling stuff at retail that they can retail.
So tell us a little bit about what happens in here. What goes on?
So this is where the whole photography process goes on. Everything's flat laid. Be flat laid in the cubes, and then the whole photography team will take photos from the top, and then they'll take like detailed photos from the side of like tags, certain parts of the item which might need to be shown, like a flaw or like other details that could make the item sell for more money, and to sort of show that it's legit, especially on eBay because they're quite strict with items not being legit. And then it all sort of goes off and gets processed to be put onto eBay, ASOS or the website. So
this just goes straight up onto the websites basically after it's
yeah, so yeah, it'll be one of those three, or some things are cross-listed. We've got loads of people working on the team. For example, we've got Christian here. He works with me in the wholesale side of it.
Hello mate, good to meet you. Yeah, I saw you had the laptop and the tripod set up earlier, so were you having a conversation with a client? So
exactly, yeah.
Nice.
We have clients, they can either come here or do video calls like from across the world.
And so you just go and hand pick pieces and you show them and they say, yeah, I'll take that, I'll take that.
Yeah,
wicked.
So, yeah.
So it's crazy to think that you're going from such a large scale operation that you've already got to a bigger warehouse. So when did you guys think that this was something that you could invest in full time?
I think it was like the sort of first 2 years. They were obviously just doing it as a side thing. My bosses, Josh and Zac. But after those 2 years, they eventually realised, there's something about this, and it's only going to grow because the second-hand market is just, at the moment, it's growing crazy at the moment. But I think back in the day, it wasn't as big, but there were still people that wanted to buy a Ralph Lauren shirt for a lot cheaper than what the retail is, which is something like £80 upwards.
And do you think that generally, second-hand market for clothing is growing? You guys have been operating for 6 to 8 years. So what have you seen? Have you seen the demand for it increase over that time?
I think when COVID started, that was like a huge boom in especially the vintage scene and the vintage side of the second-hand market. With people not being able to go to work and just being stuck at home, people realised, eBay, Depop, even ASOS Marketplace, a lot of people sort of went onto there, but people realised that they can make money just from sitting at home and ordering stuff online, just putting a bit of money on top of it and making a bit of money there. Loads of businesses have grown from COVID, especially in the vintage side of it, and I think eBay was just crazy. Depop was hectic. I was selling on Depop during that time, and there was just sales every day and couldn't get enough stuff online to actually...
So you reckon that when everyone was trapped at home during COVID, that people thought, right, I've got nothing to do today, but I've got loads of clothes in my wardrobe that I could possibly sell, and that's contributed to the growth in the second-hand market in the last couple of years?
Literally that. There was a huge boom of like resellers, second-hand vintage sellers. Even once the world started to sort of open up after COVID, there was still like a huge boom in the vintage market. People were opening up vintage stores, people still selling online. I think once it started to open up, some shops started to die down, but then other shops started to boom and realised this is actually a really good business to get into.
So tell us a little bit about your own thing that you've got going on. I've seen it's called Rhind's Finds. You're on YouTube, Instagram.
It's slowed down a lot more just because I'm basically doing a full-time job here. But it's how I sort of got into the whole business side of it. I just love vintage, basically. That's the main thing about it. I love vintage and I love finding it. Yeah, literally live and breathe it, as bad as it and weird as it sounds. But I just love finding stuff out in the wild. I mean, I'm from Suffolk, which is like known for like having farmers, but I find cool stuff, and that's like the whole fun. That's the whole thing I love about it. Just finding really cool, random, rare items out in the wild at car boots, charity shops, and then obviously I started doing YouTube with it, and just thought I'd do something different because everyone was just like posting pictures online. So literally, I'd go to car boots, do like a show my angle of what I'm doing, finding items, and then I show people at the end what I paid for the item, what the item is, and sort of hopefully what I'll get for it online, or if I'm just going to keep it and sort of wear it myself or archive it or do something with it.
I noticed that you on your, I think I watched your football t-shirt video, but everything you picked up, you're saying, right, I got this for 50p, but I reckon I sell it for like 11, 12 quid.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool that you're so transparent about it and you kind of give people an actual idea of what money can be made in this market.
Well, I think that's sort of another reason why I was doing the videos. I thought other people can watch it and they'll learn something from it, teaching people what brands sell, for how much, what items are good to pick up.
Do you think the appetite for second-hand clothing in general is increasing as time goes on? Do you think the market is going to become bigger?
100%, definitely. There's still that stigma of, oh, that's someone else has worn that, or it's got a small mark there, there's a little hole, but I think people just need to get over that, and it's starting to grow and people are starting to realise, it's a lot cheaper, it's better for the environment, but I think we just need to get past that stigma. I think another sort of misconception with vintage is people don't realise how well it was made back in the day. There's pairs of jeans like from like the 60s, 70s, 80s that just the quality is crazy on them compared to a pair of like Primark jeans which you could like easily tear with your bare hands. But that's one of the main reasons why I buy vintage still, just because of the quality, and obviously there's a bit of wear to it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, in terms of like trousers for me, my jeans, I usually always buy them from second-hand stores, and I find that they fit me way better than just a pair of jeans that I just pull off a rack at a resale shop that are fresh, because they've been worn in. You know, they've had some life in them, life lived in them.
That's the fun of it. That's the best thing about it. It's got a little bit of wear. I mean, there's items like a Levi jacket. You buy them in different grades, A, B, C. But there's a market for every single grade. Like you can get a thrash jacket. There'll be vintage stores that just want that and they'll rework it. They'll do something with it to fix it, or they'll market it so that people want to wear it with the thrashing, with the holes on the sleeve, a few marks here and there. But I think that's the best thing about it, being worn in, and just the quality is just crazy on some vintage items.
So tell us a little bit about the future of the brand. We know you're moving to a bigger warehouse, but in terms of how you're actually going to grow the business outside of that, you know, what kind of plans do you have?
Once we move in there's going to be lots more space. So obviously, those camera sort of cubes that I showed you, well, I think we currently have like 5, 6, maybe 8 of them, I think, spread over the place. I think my boss wants to get to like around 20 to 25 of them. I think they do around 100 items, but I think we want to get it to like around 20 people doing that every day. So that'll be 2,000 items every single day getting processed, photographed, and then hopefully going online. And then also with the clothing sort of quantity, I think we have around sort of 60 to 80,000 items online across all platforms, but I think they want to up that to like at least like 400,000 items online, and that's sort of one of the goals.
That's a big increase, like 4 or 5 times.
It's
what's
huge.
What's the
It's
kind of
huge.
time frame you guys are?
I think it'll take a few years. Lots of people come in here and they only want sportswear, sweatshirts, jackets, which have like strong brands on them, like Nike, Jordan, I don't know, for example. I think this whole business is just trying different things, selling everything, because that's basically what Messina does. They sell super dry, unbranded knits, like a spotty women's dress, and they make money off it, obviously. So there's a market out there for every single item, and I think that's another thing that people just don't realise as well, that you can sell everything, every item of clothing. If it's second-hand, someone would have bought it and worn it and obviously thrown it away for a reason, whether they didn't like it or got a mark on it, but you can fix that, and
someone's probably going to buy it again.
Exactly,
If they bought it in the
literally.
first place,
If it's been bought,
yeah.
if it's been bought at retail, it's going to be able to be sold on the second-hand market.
It's been amazing to see all these clothes, your warehouse, get an idea of the scale of the operation, and for me personally to learn that you're getting all these clothes in from so many different countries. I had no idea, you know, you get it from Italy, France, India, America. So yeah, thanks for your time, and maybe we'll see you when you move into the new warehouse.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Cheers, man.